At the start, we meet Joseph Sven, a middle-aged teacher who walks with a limp due to an injury he suffered as a child. Joseph lives on a farm with his elderly mother, handling everyday chores and helping around the house. When he arrives at school, he breaks the news to his class that the school might soon shut down. At that moment, a new 18-year-old student, Catherine Wheeler, joins the class. "And who might you be?" he asks, noticing her arrival. After work, Joseph discusses the school's possible closure with Rosalie, a widow he's been supporting since her husband's death, and whom he even intends to marry. The next morning, Nathan Wheeler, Catherine's father, and a retired major, shows up at Joseph's farm, requesting to board Catherine's horse in Joseph's stable. He even offers $175 a month, a proposal Joseph gladly accepts. Later, Joseph offers Catherine a ride home, mentioning that this is likely his last year teaching. Curious, she asks what he plans to do next, but Joseph is unsure, prompting Catherine to say she'll figure it out, and it's at that moment that her feelings take a more personal turn. Soon after, Dr. Evans stops by to check on Joseph's mother, informing him that her health is rapidly declining and recommending she stay in the hospital, as she may only have a few months left. The following day after class, Joseph finds Catherine waiting for him in the stable loft. "You knew I'd be here, didn't you?" she says, signaling her intentions with a subtle gesture. Joseph, torn between his values and her attention, initially leaves to avoid temptation. However, he later reconsiders, realizing his life has become mundane and that maybe a bit of excitement wouldn't be so bad. He returns to Catherine, and they share a close moment. A few days later, the school board tells Joseph that his lack of professional development credits means he's ineligible to teach in the city. Joseph, unbothered, speaks his mind to the board members and heads home. Later, Dr. Evans visits and mentions that Major Wheeler, an avid hunter, spotted a coyote nearby. Evans offers Joseph his old hunting rifle, saying he's too old to use it himself. During class, Joseph assigns an essay, which Catherine uses as an excuse to leave him a message, saying she needs to talk about something important. Later, while driving her home, Joseph is frustrated by the openness of her note, worried someone could discover their connection. At first, he suspects she may be pregnant, but Catherine denies it and playfully teases him by saying she is, which momentarily stuns Joseph. Joseph feels overwhelmed, unsure how to handle the situation or explain it if anyone else were to find out. Fortunately, he soon learns Catherine was just joking. She isn't actually pregnant. One morning, Catherine surprises him with a gift, a bottle of aged 20-year-old bourbon. Grateful, Joseph accepts it and casually inquires about her mother, but Catherine quickly changes the topic, avoiding any discussion of her mother's struggles and instead redirecting the conversation back to him. Later, Dr. Evans walks into the stable unexpectedly and finds Joseph and Catherine together. Concerned, he arranges to meet Joseph at a cafe. Shocked by what he witnessed, Evans presses Joseph for details, asking how long their relationship has been going on. Joseph admits everything, prompting Evans to warn him that if he doesn't end things with Catherine, it could lead to serious consequences. He reminds Joseph of his relationship with Rosalie, who's waiting for him to propose. After a lively school party, Rosalie invites Joseph to her home, hoping to spend some intimate time together. Her intentions are clear, but Joseph, feeling conflicted and unable to express his true feelings, declines her invitation. Rosalie is left hurt and confused by his refusal. She had hoped for more than just friendship, and his sudden withdrawal stings deeply. When Joseph returns to his home, his mother, who has always been observant, hints that she knows about his involvement with Catherine. She questions how long he plans to continue the affair, her voice frail but filled with unspoken concern. Her words hit Joseph harder than expected, but just as he's about to respond, his mother's condition worsens, and she suddenly falls ill. This interruption saves him from having to confront the uncomfortable truth, but her piercing question lingers in his mind, forcing him to reflect deeply on his actions and the path he has chosen. After some time, Joseph feels the weight of his mistakes and decides to apologize to Rosalie. He visits her, explaining that the reason he had turned her down before was not because he didn't care for her, but because his mother needed him. He apologizes for being distant, assuring her that she deserves more than what he's been offering. But Rosalie, though understanding, suspects that there's more to the story. She can see through his half-hearted explanations and presses him for the truth. Joseph, feeling the burden of his regrets, opens up, revealing the inner turmoil he's been battling. He explains that as he's grown older, he's realized he hasn't truly pursued his own dreams, constantly putting others' needs before his own. He confesses his longing for a peaceful life, away from all the chaos, where he could sit on a quiet, secluded beach, fish, and simply relax in solitude. But above all, he admits that he wishes for one thing: to share a moment of genuine tenderness with her. No expectations, no complications. Just the two of them enjoying each other's company in the daylight. Rosalie, after a brief moment of hesitation, softens, and despite the emotional distance between them, she gives in to her feelings and fulfills Joseph's quiet wish. Soon after their intimate moment, Joseph's mother passes away. The grief is heavy, and after the funeral, as Rosalie sorts through condolence cards, she stumbles upon one from Catherine. Her heart sinks as the truth hits her hard. Joseph had been unfaithful. The realization cuts deeper than anything she expected, and she confronts him in a heated moment outside, her eyes full of betrayal. She accuses him of cheating, and Joseph, struggling to hold on to any semblance of control, tries to downplay the situation. He insists that Catherine was nothing more than a fleeting distraction, a brief fling that meant little in the grand scheme of things. He pleads with Rosalie, telling her that she is the one who truly matters to him, that he loves her, and that Catherine's actions were insignificant. But his words fall on deaf ears. Rosalie's pain only intensifies, and in a flash of anger, she lashes out, her voice trembling as she tells him she wishes he would die. She shoves him away, her heart breaking as she walks away from him, leaving him standing in the cold, lost and regretful. Later that evening, Catherine arrives at Joseph's home, having heard about the fallout. She insists that they should get married, claiming that it's the only way forward. But Joseph, exhausted by the weight of everything that has happened, tells her it's over. He firmly says it's time to end their relationship, realizing that their connection was nothing more than a momentary lapse in judgment. Catherine, scorned and determined, warns him, "You'll regret this." The very next day, Joseph finds out that Nathan, Catherine's father, knows everything about their affair and is not about to let it slide. That night, Joseph, feeling a sense of impending confrontation, takes the hunting rifle that Dr. Evans had gifted him and waits for Nathan's arrival. When Nathan and his wife finally show up, Nathan only wants to talk. He calmly asks Joseph if he plans to marry Catherine, but Joseph, despite the pressure, admits he's unsure and doesn't think he's her type. Nathan, surprisingly understanding, tells Joseph that he believes Joseph is a good man and that it's not entirely his fault. Catherine shares responsibility in the matter as well. However, Nathan's wife, unable to hold back her anger, slaps Joseph across the face, accusing him of taking advantage of her daughter. Despite her wrath, Nathan suggests that they let the situation go and part ways peacefully. Once they leave, Catherine reappears, asking once more if Joseph will marry her. But Joseph, feeling weary and resigned, tells her that what they had was just a brief fling, that they have no future together. He's too old, and she's too young, too uncertain of what she truly wants. In a final desperate gesture, Catherine kisses him, and in a quiet, sorrowful confession, she says, "I've done something bad." Joseph, confused and conflicted, steps outside and is shocked to see the barn engulfed in flames. He rushes to save the cow, but tragically, Catherine's horse perishes in the fire, a painful reminder of the chaos their lives have become. The next day, Joseph realizes he can't keep living like this. He decides to make things right. He seeks out Rosalie, tells her that he truly loves only her, and that he wants to build a life with her. Rosalie, moved by his sincerity, forgives him. Together, they make their way to the ocean, where they decide to leave everything behind and live the rest of their lives together, away from all the pain and mistakes of the past. And that's the end of the story. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your thoughts about the movie in the comments.